Alright guys, welcome back to Conqueror and Commander. Today we're going to be looking at the Devour Power Precon deck. The deck's not good, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It doesn't have enough powerful stuff in it. But let's just see what it does in action. My opponents are Bruna, Light of Alabaster, who plays a bunch of auras, sticks them in graveyard, her graveyard, comes out, and she turns into a big ugly beast that's hard to deal with. There's Krenko, who's Goblin Tribal with a bunch of tokens, and then Grimgrin, who's Zombie Tribal with a bunch of tokens. Out of these three, the Bruna is the number one biggest threat at the table, just looking at it right now. She turns into a huge battle cruiser that can typically kill people with one hit sometimes. So she's going to be number one on my radar. I've got 3 lands, and although I need a white for each of my lands, other than Acorn, each of my cards other than Acorn Catapult, I decided to keep, just assuming that I was going to be able to draw into something. I'll move that down there. I get an Aquastan Spider. I don't like this card because I don't like Graft. Krenko has first turn Legion Loyalist and attacks Bruna, so obviously he agrees with me about the threat assessment. Bruna is playing with Floodplains, so she's not entirely pimped out, or else she just likes it having additional sack lands. She does have Hollowed Fountains, so, you know. There's 2 more Goblins there, and he goes after Bruna once again with Legion Loyalist. Grimgrin does nothing. I have Cultivate, and I go grab 2 Plains. And then I attack Bruna as well. So we're slowly ticking away at Bruna. She plays Rhystic Study, and it's interesting to see who pays the price. Krenko pays for that and goes after Bruna again. That's Skirk Prospector. Additional mana there. Undead Alchemist from Grimgrin. Obviously he's not going to be attacking Bruna. I play Acorn Catapult and pay the tax, and I attack Bruna again. She's down to 31. Bruna notes that she can't draw a land, so she plays Copy Enchantment to copy her Rhystic Study, hopefully to be able to draw into something. Yeah, Undead Alchemist is going to go after me or Krenko, because you just don't want to give Bruna additional targets from when she comes in and attacks. Krenko plays Ring of Valkas and doesn't pay the tax for either of the studies. And then on top of that, he also plays Goblin Bombardment, which is a good card for Krenko decks. And then he sends 4 more damage in Bruna's direction. And Bruna manages to draw some land, because of course drawing 4 cards in one turn will do that. Bruna's down to 27. Grimgrin plays Noxious Ghoul. And unfortunately for Krenko, all of his dudes are tiny. So just having the Noxious Ghoul come in is going to kill them all. So what he does is he uses Goblin Bombardment to kill the Ghoul, just so that he'll have dudes in the future. Yeah, see, they're all going after the Ghoul right here. And then he sends one last one after the Bruna player. And the Alchemist goes after Krenko. He gets 2 creatures out of it. I once again attack Bruna. I play Alliance of Arms. I pay the tax. Alliance of Arms is not a good card. It's just not. But I figure at least this way I can give Krenko 2 more creatures to throw with the Goblin Bombardment after Bruna. I'm really worried about Bruna right now, even more so than Grimgrin at this moment. So everybody gets 2 soldiers, and then there's all these graph triggers, but I say no to all of them. Bruna plays Moat, which effectively stops every creature on the board from attacking. So that's sad times right there. And then he discards, interestingly, the cards that he discards, there's only 1 enchantment, and that's Pariah. But he does discard Hakim, who's just awesome, and Umbra Mystic. Krenko comes back out to play, and he's not going to pay the tax for that, so Bruna's going to get more card draw here. He will be equipped with the ring here, though. And he's going to make a goblin. Grimgrin plays Mind Unbound. Mind Unbound is one of those kind of like forgotten cards. And of course, Bruna gets to draw 2 more cards. Bruna's just overwhelming us with card advantage at this point. Mind Unbound is one of those cards that people forget about, but if left alone can actually be really good over the long term. Fertilid is a card where I can actually graft and be happy about it. I do pay the tax on both heuristic studies. And what I plan on doing is ramping a little bit. There's Revelark. And then he discards. Let's take a look at the enchantments that he discards. He discards Sovereigns of Lost Alara, Celestial Mantle, and Rhystic Memoria. He obviously doesn't need Rhystic Memoria. There's Goblin Sledder from Krenko, and he pays the tax on the Sledder. Krenko's down to only 1 card in hand. And then he makes a couple more goblins, and then he does nothing. Mind Unbound draws a card for the Grimgrin player, and he plays Blatant Thievery. So he steals one of the Rhystic Studies, he steals one of my lands, which is sad because with the 2 bounce lands, I'm just kind of slow on mana. And then he steals the Ring of Velkas from Krenko. And I decide to pop the Fertilid for at least 1 land right now. What? Something happened. Oh no, he didn't try to steal the Ring of Velkas. He tried to steal Krenko. And so what happened was the Krenko player just sacrificed him to Goblin Bombardment and sent the point of damage after the Bruna player. So now I draw a Temple of False God, and I use it to ramp a little bit with Fertilid. But I don't really have anything else to do right now. Bruna plays Resurrection, and lets the Grimgrin player draw a card. And he resurrects Sovereigns of Lost Alara. Before he can attack, though, Krenko uses Goblin Bombardment to kill the Revelark. Of course, what that does is it brings back two creatures from the graveyard for the Bruna player, which are Hakim, I believe. Oh yeah, and Umbra Mystic. And then he plays Great Oromancy. So there's Umbra Mystic and Hakim. Krenko comes back out to play, and he's letting everybody draw. Grimgrin draws 2 cards from Mind Unbound and plays Bribery, targeting me. Now it's interesting that he targets me because I told him, that I think early on, or maybe I didn't, I'm not sure, but I think I let these guys know, or they had to have figured it out, that I was playing the pre-con list. But he does Bribery me, and he gets Celestial Force. So he's going to gain some life. And then he mind controls the Sovereigns. But of course nobody can attack. I draw another land. And I play Vish Call. And I pay the tax to play Vish Call. And then I finally get rid of my grafter by grafting that last token onto Vish Call. During his upkeep, Bruna manages to get Celestial Mantle onto Hakim here. So he's going to be able to attack and hit somebody. He goes after the Grimgrin player. And he's going to go from 23 up to 46. Knocking the Grimgrin player down to 41. And then he plays Aura Thief. And Aura Thief, everybody considers a problem at this point. Krenko plays the tax for Goblin Artillery, and then puts the ring on it. And then he does not make any tokens. Grimgrin's still gaining life and still drawing cards with Mind Unbound. He's got 10 cards in hand now. He plays Runescarred Demon. And he does not pay the tax. Here's the demon. And the demon searches up Endless Ranks of the Dead. Not sure if that would have been exactly what I tutored up for, because right now it's only going to give him one zombie next turn. But who knows? I mean, maybe that's what he wants to do. I don't know. Maybe he has something in hand. Well, he does have 9 cards in hand, so maybe he has something in his hand to help him out. And then I use Acorn Catapult on Vishkal just so I can get a squirrel. I put Vow of Duty on Runescarred Demon because I want to make him bigger, and I don't want him coming after me. Acorn Catapult is a bad card, period. It's just bad. Take it out. So Bruna attacks Krenko and goes up to 92 life. Then she plays Gilded Lotus and pays the tax. And then she uses Gilded Lotus to play Wrath of God. This is an issue because Bruna has Aura Thief, and there's a bunch of enchantments out here that everybody's going to lose. I'm the only person without an enchantment that gets lost. What Krenko does is make more tokens and then sacrifices them all to Goblin Bombardment, and he kind of Grimgrin's at 53, Bruna's at 92. He pretty much sacrifices them all and hits Grimgrin, I think. Let's see. Who does he hit? Oh yeah, he sends them all after Grimgrin. And the Grimgrin player, after getting knocked down to 41, concedes. So, and then the Krenko player concedes right after that. So basically, the Aura Thief doesn't really hurt me too much. It just means that Bruna has 2 Rhystic Studies. I luckily draw into Squallmonger, who's one of the 2 cards in the deck, maybe 1 card in the deck that can handle flyers. But it's still not looking good for me. So Bruna's at 92 and I'm at 40, and she has a full hand of cards, and I've got basically Squallmonger, and that's about it. I do make sure to pay the tax on the Rhystic Study just because I don't want to get outraced that much. But the situation looks pretty dire right now. So Bruna does have Sword of Feast and Famine, which is real bad because that gives all his flyers protection from my Squallmonger. He does cast Bruna. He tries to kill Hakim, and I use the Squallmonger to kill Hakim and do 4 damage to everybody. Not that that really matters right now. I do draw Scavenging Ooze, which is good in that it protects me from Bruna picking up all her graveyard enchantments. Yeah, Celestial Mantle's still in there, and really that's it. So Scavenging Ooze is out there, and I still have Squallmonger. He tries to equip Bruna with the sword, but I have enough mana to kill Bruna. What he does do is he lets Bruna go back directly into his graveyard. because he's going to cast, there's Bruna in the graveyard, Body Double. So I use Scavenging Ooze to get Bruna out of the graveyard, and I get his Revlok out of his graveyard, but he copies my Vish Call and equips it, and I've got no answer to that. And I draw a land, and pretty much that's game. He Cryptic Commands to bounce my Acorn Catapult and tap all my dudes, and then play Sunblast Angel, killing all my guys. So I use Scavenging Ooze just to get a bunch of stuff out of his graveyard and gain a little life. But it's not going to matter. I mean, I haven't drawn a way to get rid of the moat. So even if I do draw some creatures or something like that, it's not going to matter. He untaps everything and then plays Bruna again and equips her with the sword. I play a forest, and I've got Gave. And I play Spawn Writhe as well to empty my hand. Bruna plays Jace's Archivist and Sun Titan, getting Mystic Remora back. Attacks me for a bunch. I drop from 30 down to 14. I make a few Saprolings off of Gave. And then I draw a forest, and that's it. Basically, what I needed there was Hour of Reckoning or something like that. But even that, you know, wouldn't have helped me too much, because I still would have had to deal with Moat over time. So anyways, that's what happens. I never felt like I was really in this game once Moat hit. And the only damage I did was early damage with Aquastrand Spider. Alright, hope you enjoyed that.